So we're gonna go ahead and give it a little flex and just kind of see what it can do. And now he's gonna go ahead and give his initial reaction on it. So overall, what do you think, honestly? Be honest, 100%.
Comparing them to Kings,
What's up, you guys? Welcome back, and welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm right here with my good friend Michael, and today we're going to be showing you guys just exactly how to install some rear shocks onto your Tacoma. Of course, we're installing it onto my 2020 Tacoma, but
also works for 2005 to 15, which is also second gen.
So we're going to be showing you guys just exactly how to do it from step one to all the way to the end. And then after that, once we install them, we're going to give you guys a quick review on the shocks. So of course, we're only installing the rear because for the front, I actually do have something special coming. It's going to be a little custom shock done from AccuTune. So if you guys do know what AccuTune is, you guys will kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be doing with the front. So let's go ahead and now get into the install. All right, you guys, so now of course we're going to get into the installation. So I have Michael right here. He's going to kind of explain the shock that we're going to be installing today. Like I said, it's just the rears, and he's going to show you guys what tools we're going to need to do this install. Let's get it.
So right here we have the Rough Country Vertex Series 2.5 Reservoir shock. First impressions, I'm pretty surprised. I haven't seen them with these shocks for the Tacomas, which these are new. Obviously I did send them to Jesse so he can try them out. Quality build on them is really nice. A lot of billet parts are in here. Billet knob, billet caps, billet rod ends, which is really nice. These are 2.5 shocks, so they are pretty big compared to what Jesse has on the truck right now, which is the iBox shocks. With the shocks, you get your reservoir mounts with hose clamps. You get a sticker, obviously. You get your hardware for the reservoir. Here's your tools that you're gonna need: a 17 mil ratcheting wrench for the top nut, and then you'll also need a 1/2 inch for the hardware that goes for the reservoir. And then you're going to need a couple sockets. These are also for the reservoir, and then the hose clamps on the reservoir.
Heck yeah. And another cool thing about this, it is an 8-stage adjustable shock. So like he was saying, it is right there, and you can adjust it. So you can go from 1 being the super soft setting, or you can go to 8 being super stiff. As far as for my truck right now, the way it's set up with the rear bumper, I'm probably going to set it at about maybe 5 or 6. And then whenever we do put my rooftop tent back on, maybe we'll go up in size. So let's go ahead and show you guys. All right, you guys, and before we get into the installation, I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know, of course, we are at home. As you guys can tell, we're home. And what we're going to be showing you guys today as far as the installation is if you guys are at home with limited tools. So noticing we don't have a jack, we don't have anything crazy like that, we don't have crazy power tools, we only have ourself and our strength. So of course, that's where Michael comes in with the super muscles. Hell yeah.
Moving this top nut with this bushing right here, the shock will stay in because there's a nitrogen charge in it, and then we're going to take off the lower bolt down there, and then we'll get the shock out.
For that top one, it's going to be a size 17 millimeter socket to go ahead and remove. And just like that, she's free. All right, so now for the next step, we're going to go underneath the truck. So noticing right there, there's a nut. That's also going to be a size 17 millimeter socket. And what you want to do here is you actually want to get 2. You want to get one for one side. As you can tell, there's one here, and then you want to get one on this side. And you basically want to use one as leverage, and then one to actually remove the nut. And just like that. So of course, since we are doing this at home, that is of course kind of the hard part. But as you can tell, within a minute, it's already out. Now we just got to go ahead and install the brand new one. One thing I did want to point out, even though the shock is out, as you can tell, it's still sitting in its position. So you don't have to be afraid of it falling down. It's not like a car. Or like if you're doing the front suspension, that's a little different. But as far as for back here, since you do have a leaf pack, it kind of stays in its position so it won't fall down. Let's go ahead and get it. All right, you guys, so before we get to the install, I wanted to show you guys something. So of course, the iBox are now pulled out. These are the 2.0s. And of course, if you guys do have a 2.0 shock, this is basically what it's going to look like. As you can tell, it's pretty skinny. Now the ones we're going to be installing are these 2.5 from Rough Country. We just wanted to give you guys kind of like a side-by-side comparison from a 2.0 to a 2.5.
So the hardware that they give you is going to be one of these flat washers. This goes on first, just like that, and then you're going to have this bushing. So these come separately. You're going to have this bushing with like an alignment on it, and then you're going to take your zinc plated alignment washer, and this is just going to go sit on here around that rubber. See, that kind of just sits on there, And then this is going to fit into the body of the truck. Like the bracket's going to come right here, and then you're going to have this bushing right here that goes on, and then this washer, and then of course your nut, just like that.
Of course, this is like if you're doing it at home, no lift, no crazy tools. This is what we were saying, you guys gotta kind of be a little strong, not gonna lie, because you're gonna need to basically compress the shock by hand, I should say. Bring that into the shock tower at the top right there. It's gonna fit in. And of course, you're gonna need to play with it a little bit just to kind of finesse it in, since we're not on a lift. And once it's in, I'll come through this side. And then, as you guys can tell, it's popping out right about there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that bushing, and then I'm gonna put this piece here. And then of course we got our nut. And I'm just gonna go ahead and hand tighten for now. Just so that way it doesn't fall or anything like that.
Alright, here's the hard part.
So right now while he compresses it, as you can tell, this is the stock bolt that we had taken off at first. I'm gonna go from the back over here and basically put the screw through while, like I said, he's compressing it. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Oh, it's going. It's going. It's almost there. Now we'll just put the bolt right through the back side. There it is. And then we'll get that stock factory washer that we had first taken off. And then the bolt or the nut. In this step here, he's gonna just hand tighten it. And then after that, what you want to do is you want to actually torque it down to spec, and then you're good to go. All right, you guys, so now we're going to go ahead and get to the next step, which is installing the reservoir. So as far as tools, you're going to want to go ahead and get a 1/2 inch socket and wrench, just like this. And then of course, you want to go ahead and get a 5/16 socket as well. You guys will see why. So that's the tools you're going to need. And now as far as what we're going to be grabbing, it's going to be these two clamps right here. We're going to be grabbing the bracket, and then we're going to be grabbing the baggie that has this hardware. Basically what it's going to be is going to be a bolt, and then a washer and nut. These are going to be right here at the bottom. So just like that, you guys will see when we install it. And then of course the nylon nuts will be at the bottom right there, which is going to secure it.
Here's your reservoir bracket. This does mount on top of the frame rail. As you can see, there's 2 holes factory right here on top of the frame rail, and these 2 bolts will go through there, and you will apply the nuts on the bottom side of that. And then after that, your reservoir will sit right here, and then it comes with these hose clamps to hold your reservoir on. A nice thing to do so it doesn't scratch reservoir is you can wrap these things in some like electrical heat shrink, and it also does hide the silverness of these, and it honestly looks cleaner in my opinion. You don't have to do that.
So like he was saying, we're going to go ahead and now slide the bracket over with the 2 bolts right in there, and it should fit in its position. So there it is, and then I'll go underneath the truck just to show you guys. As you can tell, those bolts come out through there, and then now you just put the nuts on it, as you can see. And then of course now right here is where you want to go ahead and get your 1/2 inch socket and wrench, and put one on one side and put one on the other side, and just tighten it down.
Alright, so one thing with these brackets is there is slots on the top right here as well. That's so that you can move the bracket in and out from hitting the bed, because the beds do flex on top of these frames a little bit, and you don't want it rubbing, because then it just rubs, and it rubs the paint off, and they don't look good, and then it could cause issues. So we're going to leave these a little bit loose so we can pull them out so they're not rubbing on the bed. So a big thing on these shocks is a lot of people over tighten these nuts up here, and it does squish the bushing, and that's also bad too, because when your tires fully droop down, this washer does put pressure on this bushing, and that can crack the bushing over time, and you'll obviously have like a rattle back here from this washer. Ask me how I know that. Happened to me. Now we're going to go back to the reservoir. So when you put the reservoir on, you do want to articulate this hose so that it pulls itself away from the actual shock mount, because you can hit this on here if it's too far over that way, and you can break these fittings off. So once you get your reservoir positioned like this, you're going to take your hose clamp and make sure that this 5/16 bolt is facing like this, so you can hide it behind the mount. You don't want it sticking out on front. You're going to go and slide that on just like that, and tighten that, and then we're going to do the forward side as well.
Now let me go ahead and show you guys the finished product. So of course we've tightened down the hose clamps there. So as you can tell, it looks really good. Nice, as you can tell. So of course, one more time, we wanted to mention, if you guys do have heat shrink, you can put it over these hose clamps just to kind of make everything blacked out, and it'll look a lot cleaner. We didn't have any, so that's why we just installed it like that. That's totally up to you guys, but damn, that looks good, and it's nice and big. If you guys see this thing in person, you guys will see how big this thing actually is. The same steps we did here, we're gonna now do it to the opposite side, and then we'll give you guys our review and our thoughts.
Right, so one thing on the driver's side we did notice is there's a bracket for the brake lines right here with these two 10mm bolts. These will have to come out, and then these will, or the bracket will sit on top of the reservoir mount for this side.
Looking from underneath, this is the bracket he was talking about. It's just a size 12mm socket to go ahead and remove it. I would use probably just a open box wrench, because if you do try to get a socket in there, you're gonna kind of screw yourself because it's gonna get stuck with the bed. That's kind of what happened to us, so just letting you know. But now that it's loose, now we can go ahead and install the reservoir bracket, which is gonna go in between there, as you can tell. The cool thing about this, you're basically going to sandwich that reservoir bracket in between the actual brake lines bracket, and you're going to reuse the hardware that was there that you took off. So let's do that now. So as you can tell, the bracket is in. So what I did is I just used a open box end wrench for both of these, tightened them as much as I could, and then I got a closed ratcheting wrench just like this right here, size 12. And then I tightened it down all the way. I just kind of snugged it up really tight. I didn't overdo it, of course, because I don't want to break the threads, but there it is, it's done. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is basically just repeating the same steps that we did with the passenger side. Now we're going to do it to this side. All right, and there's the finishing touch right there. They do provide the little sticker. If you don't want to put that on, you can go ahead and, of course, put your own sticker, but we're going to go ahead and leave it on there, of course, to support the brand. So heck yeah. So up next, what we're going to be doing is right now, we're going to go ahead and test out the truck. We're going to play with the reservoir settings and just see if we like it or not. Let's get it. All right, you guys. So of course, we're going to be doing the review today on the actual rear shocks. So right now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to test them out. And then after I test them out, we'll go ahead and skip to my good friend Michael's review. Just that way you guys have 2 point of views on these shocks. So of course, he's running Kings on his truck, so he kind of knows that end. As far as for me, I've always stuck with a little bit of budget type suspension. So for today, I believe this is going to be the medium of both of those type of lifestyles. Like I said, we'll skip back to Michael once I'm done with reviewing my part. Let's get it. Just to give you guys an idea, right now I am at Cleghorn. So of course, if you guys do know where I'm at and have been here, you guys know where exactly this section is. So you can actually flex out your truck right there. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to get her to go ahead and record from the outside, and then I'm going to go ahead and go up this. So right now I do have it on the first setting. So it's actually in the soft setting. So I'll go ahead and go up it, test it out, see how it feels, and then come back down, give you guys my thoughts, and then I'll go ahead and switch it up all the way to maybe number 8, which is the stiffest setting. Go ahead and go up, give you my thoughts again, and then we'll go ahead and test it out somewhere else as well, just to kind of get an idea, and then we'll skip to Michael's thoughts. Let's get it. Of course, we just tested it out right here in back of me. We did 2 different lines. I wanted to show you guys just the crazy flex that these things have. So of course, this is a mid-travel suspension from Rough Country. It is a 2.5 3-inch shock. They do make different ones. I believe they make one that's even longer, but I ain't trying to go to a 4-inch lift. 3 inches is fine with me. As you can tell, the rear end actually performed pretty well. I do have it in the softest setting, so I'm not sure if that helped me out. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stiffen it all the way up to number 8. I'm going to go ahead and do the same lines and see the difference, see how it feels. But right off the bat on this setting, when I was flexing out, it did feel pretty good. I felt secure. I felt like it was on the ground most of the time. I could actually feel the front not really keeping up with the rear. Not saying anything bad on the fronts, but you can definitely feel the difference between the rear and the front. Like I told you guys earlier, I still need to switch out the front. For the front, I'll just go ahead and tell you guys right now, I did get a extended travel King shock from AccuTune with remote reservoir and adjusters. I'm also throwing on some Camberg upper control arms onto the truck. So now that the cat is out of the bag, you guys kind of get an idea of what type of suspension I'm gonna be running. So it is gonna be Kings with the rough country rear. I am actually really satisfied so far with the rear. Like I said, it feels nice. It feels like it has the travel, the droop. Only one thing though, if you guys do remember, on the back, I do have timber and bump stops. Those are actually really, really big. So I don't know if that's kind of limiting my travel as well. So down the road, what I'm gonna be doing is most likely I'm gonna be switching out those bump stops for some hydraulic bump stops, maybe from King as well. So stay tuned for that. It'll be in the future, probably next year, not gonna lie. So let's go ahead and now adjust these bad boys to number 8 and do these same little lines and see what we get. So I just adjusted one side. Let me go ahead and show you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust this, like I said, all the way to setting 8, which is the stiffest. Now let's go ahead and hit this one and that first one we did. So you guys just saw that right now firsthand. So right now I did have it in setting 8. So I did want to let you guys know. So on the first one with setting 1, which is like the softest, I actually didn't feel nothing in the cab when we were going up, and it felt like it was probably drooping more. Right now that we did go on setting 8 and we tested it out, I feel like that's probably more if you want to go ahead and pre-run or something like that, because it was actually really stiff going up and a little bouncy. I'm not sure, I couldn't tell of course from the outside. I'm not sure how much droop it did on the stiff setting. I don't know if that matters or not. I don't know really how shocks work, but as far as like what I can feel inside the cab, I felt everything on the stiff setting. On road, I think I'm gonna keep it at about 4 or 5. That's where I found out that it feels the best. So far, for the price, you guys cannot beat it. I'll go ahead and tell you guys right now, for a pair of 2 of these bad boys, for the rears, of course, with the adjusters and everything like that, how I have it set up, it's only 800 bucks. It's not crazy cheap, of course, but it's not crazy expensive. Of course, I think in my opinion, this type of shock is probably for someone that doesn't want a cheap quality suspension, but also doesn't have the money to acquire something crazy expensive. This is like that happy medium. So like I said, I'm only leaving the rears. For the front, I am doing something different. There's reasons to it. Stay tuned for that video why I did that. But it's gonna be like a Frankenstein suspension, but I already can tell just off the bat right now, I'm gonna love it. So let's go ahead and roll to Michael's clips. All right, you guys, so right now we're gonna go ahead and give our review. We're gonna test it out. The setting we have it set on is on setting 1. So of course being the softest, and I'm having him drive it. On his truck, he has Kings, so that way he can just kind of, I guess, give you guys a better thought if this is worth it or not.
Feels nice.
Yeah, it's like smooth.
Yeah.
All right, so right now we're gonna go through a speed bump. So, let's see.
Your tires rubber now?
No, they shouldn't.
The back feels pretty good.
It's nice and soft, jelly.
Look at the birds.
All right, so we're on a little dirt road. Huh.
That feels really good.
Damn, it's like really soft. It feels good. Huh.
Oh, that feels good.
Just to remind you guys, we have it set on 1 right now. So that's what we're gonna be testing it on.
And that is with the steel bumper back there.
That is true, I forgot about that. And I do have a CBI off-road high clearance dual swing out steel bumper. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of how much weight is back there. So, damn. Right now, of course, we tested it like as if we were kind of pre-running it off-road. Now we're gonna go ahead and go over a pretty big speed bump. I can't really show you guys because you won't see it on camera, but we're gonna test it out for ourselves. What do you think?
Feels pretty good.
You didn't really feel it. That's nice. We're in a little rocky section, just to go ahead and see it. See if we can flex it out maybe. Get a little video for you guys.
You can tell the front can't keep up with the rear.
Yeah. So of course right now we just kind of tested it. We didn't do too much crazy stuff, of course, but we pre-runned it and then we kind of flexed it out, tested that, and now he's going to go ahead and give his initial reaction on it. So
I'm pretty impressed with these so far. On the 1 setting, it feels pretty good without any bed weight except the out and the bumper. So we're going to turn it up some. Usually on shocks you make big adjustments, and that's when you can actually tell. So we're going to crank it all the way up to 8, see how it feels.
Hell yeah. And the cool thing about these, they're super easy. You could adjust on the fly. as you can tell. That's all you literally need to do. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a little flex and just kind of see what it can do. And so of course we still need to change out the fronts, but there's the Vertex shocks. So there it is. Looks really good. You guys, so we brought back the truck just to kind of show you guys. So of course right there it's fully flexed on this side. Reason why it's not tucking anymore is I do have a big bump stop. So of course I may switch my bump stops out to hydraulic down the road. Of course right now we are on setting 8. So what do you think initially?
Initially you could definitely feel that it is stiffer than before, which this would be like a perfect setup if you have your tent and your bed rack on and stuff like that. So we'll get some high-speed runs in and see how it feels after that.
So right now what we're doing is we came back to the same section where we were kind of speeding through. Of course we have it adjusted to the 8 setting, so we're gonna see how it is right now.
Definitely a little bit stiffer.
You can feel the back end kind of hop up.
Yeah. This little section we'll go and feel it. Yeah, you can definitely feel more vibration from it.
Yeah. So say these people want to do it for like pre-running or something like that, what setting should they set it on, you think?
Depending on how hard you're hitting bumps and stuff like that, I'd run it like 4-ish, 5-ish with no bed weight. If you definitely have bed weight, I would turn it up.
Maybe like 6 or 7 if they're running a bumper like me.
Yeah.
And then now for like just rock crawling or stuff we like doing, what do you think?
For rock crawling, it all depends on personal feeling, I guess. I would run it softer. I do like softer shocks.
Just to kind of let it flex out more, I guess. Okay. So yeah. Overall, what do you think, honestly? Be honest, 100%.
Comparing them to Kings?
Yeah.
I say they're pretty damn close to it. Like with build materials, not sure because I haven't really done much research on to that. Long distance lasting, it's hard to say because we only had them on for a couple hours, but feel wise, definitely pretty close.
Hell yeah. And one thing I did want to note right now that he's touching on the Kings, I did look up the specs. A regular King shock, rear King shock versus these ones. This one actually had, I believe, 1 inch more of travel. So I thought that was pretty cool. But like he did say, as far as internals, we still haven't really researched on that. So we don't know the differences. But as far as like right now, just off the bat, feels pretty good. And
price-wise, these are a lot cheaper.
Yeah, so if you guys do want to get them, they're going to be in the description box below. Yeah, we like them. So if you guys do want to buy them, check it out. If you guys did like today's video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure to go check out Michael's Instagram. That'll also be there.
JesseRizo is here for you.